legit
way
MIC.
those are selected, the actual rankings of them is little to do with the criminal ventures of those people and more to do with the haircuts.
Huh.
I kid you not that they rank them by the haircuts. That's why you have the top 10 most wanted. It's like,
I had
that makes sense. That totally makes sense. It's a PR exercise, of course.
I had an ex-girlfriend that was in the top 10. And I
Really?
No way.
Yeah.
Wow.
I was talking to her sister, who this is the girl that I actually like. I only dated her because to make her sister mad, and she had Alfa Romeo. That was those two things. But she's like, "Oh yeah." I said, "No, how's your sister?" I want to say her name. She's like, "You haven't heard? She's on the FBI's 10 most wanted list." Like,
she's on the lam.
And this was like beginnings of the internet, AOL. But looked it up, and there she was.
It's like, dude, if she didn't want a second date, that's all she had to say. She didn't have to get on the most wanted list.
Man, all right. So
the good ones always get away.
Quick update on the WBRT World Blockchain Roundtable layer ownership tokens distribution from last week's episode, which was a good show. That was fun. Every host from last week will receive 133 lot NFTs. Every topic contributor 166. See, they get more than us. Somehow they beat us out this time. And last week's themes were nominated. I say all of us, except for I Am, who nominated the subject. And my notes say that she will receive, I'm not going to go into any of that, 166 lot each. That was probably just a mistake. I don't know why. Apologies. Didn't mean to embarrass you or anything. These ownership tokens come with passive income, free edits, importantly, and most importantly, governance votes. So the first thing we have for the agenda this week, I have to share the screen here, is the vote for June themes, month of June, top 4 weeks in June, 4 Thursdays in June, I guess.
Do you remember what I said I wanted to make sure we put on as a proposal?
Nice.
It was too late. All the proposals were already up, so we could do that next month.
Yeah, what was it?
I can't remember.
Damn, I gotta go watch the video.
I can't remember because when you said that, I said I don't remember. But afterwards I looked and they're like, yeah, it was too late. I forgot to tell you that. But I wonder. You guys tell me this before we get into this. Should we be doing this weekly instead of, because the problem with once a month, the good thing and the reason it's once a month is because it takes about 7 days to close the vote out. Plus, it gives everybody time to think about it and vote. And weekly, we might get less activity because it might just be a week that somebody isn't paying attention or they're busy doing something else.
Also, if we're trying to get guests, it's easier to
say,
"Hey, you want to go on 3 weeks from now?"
Yes. Yeah. Okay. So that was the big reason, right?
That was my.
We don't do that a lot.
WebRTC needs to be made standard on mobile so that we can get notifications for votes from the web app.
We tried, but Apple didn't like us.
No, I think it would be through the browser. That's why I said WebRTC.
Oh yeah, we did have that originally too, but it was just not very reliable. It's
hard. Well, most people's smartphones don't have WebRTC on by default.
I see. Well, I might be doing it. So anyway, let's go to results. ETHgate, real or fiction? We're gonna dox the voters here. Is that all right? 3 voters, 19%. This, I don't know if this is top. I think, but it is top. This is the one that won. So I voted Oxons and J-Rocks.
That's gonna be good.
ETHgate, real or fiction, especially with some recent developments. So
I know.
We'll talk about that in current events.
Very concerned.
8.3%. What happens to blockchains when CBDCs become the medium of exchange? Voted for by I Am for AM. Good work. Good work. I Am for
Assuming anybody ever accepts CBDCs.
Yes. I don't know if these are ranked yet, but 8% anyway. Network states powered by blockchains as alternatives. Oh, look at that bad hyphenation to the Westphalian nation state nominated. Yay. I do believe by Greg, right? Yep. Lisa voted for it. Yay! Good stuff. That'll be an interesting one, mostly because Greg will tell us.
The Treaty of Westphalia, man.
As soon as I saw the word, that's Greg.
Yes. Okay. Then next, can AI and blockchain be used to improve each other? At 0.05% by Time Hoarder.
Nice.
Which is an excellent username, Time Hoarder.
That is a great username.
It is.
Perfect. Roger Ver's case update and effect on blockchain no votes. Do go join the free Roger Ver community on Twitter. You make sure that you can see stuff about that and keep up to date with the case. And we need to get Trump to promise. What's a Trump promise worth? I don't know, but we need to get Trump to promise that he's going to free Roger Ver.
It's worth world peace, I think.
We should get into promise to come on World Blockchain Roundtable. That's what we should do.
You know what we should do? If you could just get Trump to promise to kill the Fed and the IRS and the SEC, none of these things would be an issue. It's like he's like, okay, that's good enough because that'll cover all of it, right?
Yeah, he might not be able to kill those, but he can gut the EPA. So there's that.
Okay. How blockchain is solving real world problems, no vote. Layer 1s versus layer 0s, no votes. Can blockchain save jobs lost to AI, no votes. And has AI stole blockchain's center stage and funding, no votes. So did we get 4? We got 4.
I didn't get a vote in this time.
Oh,
I changed my vote.
I don't have the shame bell GIF available, or else I would be playing that right now. Shamebell.gif.
Wah, wah.
Okay, what was that? I am praying.
I went wah wah.
Oh, before that, you were saying something like.
We need like a slide.
I changed my vote. I changed my vote to the CBDC one from the Roger Ver update.
Excellent. Well,
I think I'm going to try to. I'm going to see if I can get Aaron Day on for that. He ran for president on the platform of stopping CBDCs, and he's actually heading up kind of the Free Roger event.
Nice.
Oh, cool.
By all means, you can do. He can actually hit both subjects, maybe.
He and I DM each other. So,
the guy who was running for president, Libertarians last time.
Yeah.
I want to see if I can get him on for the network states.
That'd be cool.
Yeah,
that would be amazing. You know what? We should maybe. I used to know the guys from. What's the name of the small country that isn't recognized and they get arrested whenever they try to go there?
Liberland.
Somaliland.
Liberland.
Gotcha.
I used to know those guys. I should probably get them on. I was a volunteer for them for a while. Tried to help them, but it was way too early. Right. I wish I had kept up with them, but I got busy. Maybe we get them on too, or somebody representing them. It'd be fun.
Yeah. That'd be cool.
That would be,
and maybe also Somaliland, because I've never met anybody from Somaliland.
This is a good time for them to actually try and do that with all of the militaries and governments, completely focused on other things in that region. Good time to do it.
Yep. And it says, so let's see here. I'm looking. Almost all of our viewers are from X. Lisa's channel also is bringing a bunch of people in from YouTube. It's weird. Our channel on YouTube, they just don't count anything. They don't count anything. Okay. Next theme of the week this week is, I'll bring this up, is when and what should not use blockchain or be decentralized. It's a very complex. Diagram that sentence first.
Yeah.
Then we will refresh this while you're diagramming that sentence. Subject, predicate, compound. Okay, anyway, let's see here. We'll go to the first question. And from Dayrox, question. You can read this, right? I need to maybe zoom in a little more.
Yeah, we can read it.
Okay. Dang it. Sorry. Can you say something about the decentralization test? So
I'm assuming we're talking about the decentralization test that they're proposing in legislation as the point at which something is not treated as a security.
Yes. Yeah. Okay. How would you define that? And like say layman's and or legal terms, what would be the best path to defining that?
Well,
right.
Time out. Or is he meaning from a decision that you're making at maybe the time of setting up the database and saying, should we decentralize it or should we be centralized? I don't know.
That would be topically. Yeah, you're right. So, okay. So answer one or both of those questions or contexts. This question from one or both of those contexts, Greg.
I'll happily answer both, and I'll do so rather briefly. So the first one I'll take is the when you should decide to decentralize with some kind of database structure,
Right.
and that right now, because of the state of the tech, is only when it's doing something that you can't do with a standard database. For example, you want to make sure that this database isn't manipulable by authorities. That's something you can't do with any other database. So you need blockchains, right? Anytime you need immutable history recorded,
Yes,
that's something you can't do with a regular database. But if you're just talking about like building the information system for your business, and you're just talking about tracking sales and customers, and you don't really care if anyone ever comes asking for that data, or you're not worried about someone editing that data for political reasons, then just do a regular database. You'll be fine. That's that decision point. And then the other one, the more interesting question, is the decentralization test. And what they've done is try to define very precisely when a network is owned by a broad enough percentage of people. Right. So are the tokens sufficiently dispersed that there is no one group with governance power dominating the entire architecture? And they look at it at the architecture level, not at the person level. So like, let's say the culture of a thing is that a small group dominates, but technically they couldn't dominate if everybody decided to participate. Then that's still decentralized.
Right on.
So that's the line they've created. Although I think they're missing something with respect to the securities test, because not passing that test doesn't necessarily make a digital asset a security.
Yeah.
There still needs to be an investment contract, as we saw with the XRP case.
It's a different question. Totally. Yep.
So
okay, that's all. Great answers, by the way. Excellent answers. Sean, what do you think? And you can answer either one or both, whatever you think.
I think it's kind of like what Greg said. If you don't need it to be used by a regular system, because that was kind of a big thing when we didn't have the .com craze, but we did have the blockchain craze or crypto craze, or everything that was starting a coin. Everything that needed a coin needed to be on blockchain, and it's like you don't really need a coin or need to be on blockchain. A lot of that was just a ways for companies to like cash in and make some fiat.
Defied the crowdfunding rules they set out when they nerfed the crowdfunding platform.
Okay. And then how about the legal?
Legal?
Yeah.
I confer to Greg on that.
Right on. Okay. Let's see here. Let's add. We're just going straight down the line. So I have Brad.
Boy, first of all, Greg nailed it as far as defining and deciding when to use a data, like your own database or blockchain. Nailed it. I really couldn't add much to that other than I'd say if there's a single writer to the data, then sure, you probably don't need a blockchain for it, right? And as far as the, well, I don't know how many minutes we're in, so I better watch my language. But I think if John McAfee was here, he would say, why the do you not want to use a data, a blockchain, right? Something like that. So
okay.
I think,
I mean, it's a fair question, but the answer is really more traditional engineering. Like if you want your thing to work well,
but more important,
use new tech.
Sure. More importantly, though, when it comes to government and deciding, should I try to be in compliance with government in regards to any kind of form of blockchain, why would you care?
Right.
It's a family show. And by the way, I think John McAfee is with us in spirit.
There you go.
So Lisa, what do you think?
I don't have a lot to add to what you guys have already said, but I've just bought this book, The Starfish and the Spider. And it was kind of, I was just getting into it, but they were talking about like decentralized versus distributed. And I think that might be some of this question, or what they were talking about, like use case in some cases. It's really storming out here, so I don't know if I'll be able to stay on. Dude. But anyway, I think there's different use cases or situations where one system might be a better fit, depending on your.
Yeah, it's interesting they didn't do a distributedness test as opposed to a decentralization test.
Right,
because distributed is really what you require in order to have diffusion of power.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So DAO with, like, say, multiple users rather than one.
I have some nuance because we did an entire exercise at Disney. We were kind of forced into it by Enterprise Architecture Group, and not forced into it. It was just they wanted a rubric. They wanted, they put together a spreadsheet of different use cases and why.
Oh yeah.
Why not?
They wanted to know what it did uniquely.
Yeah, and it made sense. It was a good exercise, but it was an interesting result because I hadn't really even been asked the question before. And I'll give you a couple examples after I tell you the answer that I gave. That, when they said, when should we not use it? When should we not use this new tech? And I'm like, really, you can't answer that right, especially back then, 2014.
Right.
That I would even say today you can't really answer that because if you think about the internet, did people ask, when should we not have a website? What things shouldn't have a web? It's like, well, it's kind of a silly question, but I'm going to tell you, people would have never thought that Netflix was a thing back then. I was here early internet. I participated and built stuff early internet, and that wasn't something that was even in the vision. We knew, okay, speeds will be faster, advances, everything else. We can't predict. It was a very engineering directed move, and whereas this was and here's why I'm going to tell you this, because you might say a website where people give their opinions doesn't need to be on the blockchain. Why would you need that? Who cares? And then I would point you
might want it.
Yeah, I would point you to Reddit. Very, very directly that the CEO, literally the CEO of Reddit, at one point in time went into people who supported Donald Trump, to their posts, and edited their posts to embarrass them, and did it directly in a database, which is should be a legal matter, except that certain venture capitalists and certain blood backs all that up. So who cares? But the point is, it even has legal implications that there have been trials that have used evidence from Reddit for death threats, murders, things like this.
And even better examples, like what about a database that keeps the state's official law, for example?
Good God, yes. I mean, why? That is actual history.
That's a social reason to use the immutability of blockchain, right?
Yes. So
that's a little different, but like the engineering point is really pretty simple, right? Like the idea is when tech is new, you shouldn't use it because it will make the thing malfunction unless you absolutely need the thing to do what it specially does. You end up building a thing that's jankier if you don't use tried and true tech, right?
That's the story.
It's the trade-off you make when you use new tech. Yeah. Now, later in the cycle, when this technology is mature, of course, every database will be on blockchain. It will be pointless to use an older format.
Here's the nuance. Right now, the problem with the blockchain industry is that people think, it has to be decentralized or it's not a real blockchain. And that's not the case. I mean, blockchain is blockchain. And, and there's value, better value in having decentralization. But what you really need, and this is a very biased answer, is you need a system that can decentralize the proof, yet protect the data if you want. And you can decentralize the data if you want, and you can integrate and you can decentralize it to multiple targets, Bitcoin, Ethereum, Base, Solana, anything. And that's what's needed, and it needs to be scalable. And that's why it's biased. That's why Dragon Chain exists. And the funniest thing, I will toot this horn a little bit, that this decentralization, the very first instance of the decentralization came from the SEC, from a bribed member of the SEC, Bill Hinman, who said that because Ethereum is decentralized enough, without any saying what is enough, it is therefore not a security, which was kind of it has nothing to do with that, with the Howey test. So it's kind of a
it does have one thing to do with the Howey test. It really does, right? It defeats the commonality of purpose sub elements to the managed enterprise test. Like basically, part of the reason there's a security created anywhere is because the management team is who you're depending on to create the value increase.
Yep.
And if the management team is everybody who owns the tokens, and the tokens are dispersed enough,
yeah, but that was not part
then
of the
there
discussion.
are more
Is it the
owners than there
ownership?
are members of the population.
Is it the people who? Is it how many nodes are running? Is it, what is it?
It's how many people could dominate or how many people it takes to dominate the network and to do stuff.
I'm saying that was not brought up in the discussion. It was literally, is decentralized enough? And why? Because they paid me this money.
Yes,
motherfucker. That's why they did it. So
the underlying logic was
but I want to get to the point without. Well, I want to try to get to my answer so it isn't the whole show. That part of that was that at that time when that directive came out, I would venture to say that Dragon Chain was measurably more decentralized than Ethereum. We didn't have more holders, right? But our proofs were hosted on Bitcoin, which was more decentralized than Ethereum.
Right, you were piggybacking off of multiple chain decentralization.
Our token was on Ethereum, and yet for some reason, even though that was in place and they didn't go after Ethereum for that reason, they came after Dragon Chain. Now, you can't make that case with
this
Ripple.
Is why the decentralization legislation is going to be good for Dragon
or
Chain.
Library. Exactly. And we will beat these tests across any measure. We have, I think we have 40,000 holders, even though, we are under attack and we're basically, lost all of our funding and everything else because of what they've done. But we still survive and we still innovate.
Yeah. And they didn't come after you on the principle. They came after you on the scale, right? They just didn't want to piss off enough people.
Yeah, I mean, and they came after us also because they're dumb, which is going to be my last point about the legal side of this.
They are dumb.
I will tell you, as engineers, as community people, you might have a different role. You might not be an engineer in this industry, but if you're in this industry, we should have a common understanding that we really don't want boomer fucking 80-year-old senators making these rules. That's the stupidest goddamn thing in the world. And on top of that, you don't want them reaching out. It's like, oh, let's go talk to my buddy Sam. Figure out Sam, what should we write into this law? Sam, you're a good guy. You want to give back to the world, right? That's the most ignorant position. And we've been in that position.
Only people
for
who write
years.
bills, though.
Stupid.
By design, Joe. By design.
Activists.
Well, and Sam's only doing what mommy and daddy told him to do.
Yeah. Anyway, so and then on the so I think I hit both. Okay, I hit both. All right. So next question.
Great question, Derox.
That was an
a really
amazing
good one,
question.
man.
Perfect. And we got two contexts out of it. We got multiple answers out of it. You only get one credit though. I am for I am.
Don't hate me for this one.
Oh, brother.
Oh, Lord.
Okay. I would like the panel to discuss this question. Question. Should society be grateful that voting systems do not use blockchain tech? And isn't it a fantastic thing that voting machines are centralized so they can be more secure and less susceptible to manipulation or hack? Thank you, Uncle Sam. We love you and trust you. Democracy works and a constitutional republic works well, too. That is an awesome question. I don't hate you for that.
One can taste the facetious if they know you.
Okay, so let's go backwards. Lisa first. You get the first answer.
Oh, come on. You're going to make me unpack this load of crap. So are we pretending that this is a truthful statement? I'm
However you want to take it. However you want to take it, yeah.
Or you could call me out and say I'm wrong.
This is a great point where, maybe blockchain isn't a good fit for everything. I think there's pieces in voting where we could have a use case for blockchain. Like we could watermark the ballots, the pieces of paper, and put that on blockchain and store or document the pieces of paper that are used for blockchain. But yeah, a centralized point is needed for counting, I think. So no, I don't know. I'm very disheartened by the whole voting system right now, so I can't really dive into this one too much. Sorry.
It would take an integrated printing device, right?
You're speaking out of order, Greg. You get a minute. You just stop it. All right. I am for I am.
I just hadn't thought about the watermark thing. That's smart.
Well, elections are selections, and we need to accept that deception.
Right on.
Hmm.
You should just quit right there.
Yeah.
That's a
Poetry.
poem, man. You could write a Dr. Seuss book like that.
So having said that, wow, I don't know where to start.
That's kind of where I was on it.
Getting the sticker saying I voted is such a wonderful thing. Unfortunately, you can't track your vote, which blockchain could do for you. You can't see if your vote was applied correctly, which blockchain could do for you. Blockchain could secure the counting of the votes, and everyone could see the counting of the votes. And when I say you would be able to see your own and you would be able to see others' votes, everyone would have, let's call it a serial number for those laymen out there from blockchain. They would have a serial number and you would be able to see and track your serial number. Right now, chain of custody is lost with mail-in ballots. Chain of custody can't be verified from the election location to the, shall we say, the centralized counting location.
By design.
So there are issues there. Now, the problem is that someone would say that blockchain wouldn't be able to support this because of the ID factor. We have to be able to verify that you are a U.S. citizen and allowed to legal vote. And maybe blockchain couldn't do that. It could, and we all know that
if you have to show an ID to vote in person still, it just gets stored on chain.
Sure. Right. So, Uncle Sam is more than 80 years old, and I don't think he's attuned to this new technology. I'll leave it at that.
He's running again this season, so he's going to be back in office. Sean.
Well, I said I wanted to talk about something in current events, but this is it.
Okay.
Also, we had the runoff election 2 days ago for Brandon Herrera running against Tony Gonzalez. Tony Gonzalez spent $10 million probably from outside of Texas. Brandon Herrera raised, I think, like $700,000 for the whole thing. He's a foul-mouthed gun YouTuber. And like all the gun tour community, where like everyone's like live streaming for the vote, and there was some weird things that happened in some counties. One county had one person vote for Tony Gonzalez, so it was 100%. But one vote.
Was it Tony Gonzalez?
No, but
No.
They started, because it's like regular, people. They're like, wait a minute, there has to be like 2 or 3 people working at the voting station. So they didn't, not one person that was working there voted.
Those guys don't sacrifice the right to vote when they sign up to work at a polling place, do they? Like sort of like a conflict of interest.
No, so it's very, so that was, but then
it's like if you work for a government agency that's non-political, then you can't be a member of a political party actively.
No, we wouldn't have any judges. But so they're complaining about it in real time. But a lot of these streams had like 30,000 viewers at the time. So things started to change, and they were fixing stuff. And then some people were saying, "Oh, they don't have electricity in this county here."
Oh, the water pipes bust.
It was something. Yeah, something happened. Like, oh, the electricity's down for them. Anyway, Brandon actually ended up losing by 400 votes.
Of course,
it's a tight fucking vote.
Yeah, it was really tight.
Is that within a recount requirement, or I don't know what Texas?
400 people who said, or 401 people who said my vote doesn't count, and would have voted for him through that one.
Recount would have been anything under 2,500 or like 2,600. So yeah, it's within the recount. But man,
you know what? If everyone voted in that district and there was 100% people voted in that district, he still wouldn't have won. The count was already counted before the vote was cast.
If you type in anything about now, it's all Tony Gonzalez, beat this alt-right YouTuber, and this. I mean, he ran blatant lying ads. Like, he's a gun tuber. He'd be like, "Hey, this is from World War II. Tells you about how the gun works and blah blah." Because he also owns he's called the AK guy. He owns a weapons manufacturing business. And they're like, he loves Nazis. Look at him with all these Nazi weapons. And I mean, it was just.
Oh my God! Guilt by association of manufacturers, says the man in the Hugo Boss suit.
There's people. There was like YouTubers like, I'm not political, but this guy's running for office in Texas, and look at this ad. It's like, look what's wrong with our system. None of this stuff is true.
If a portion of his district didn't include San Antonio, he would have won.
And it was close.
I don't know. I'm telling you, I think Texas is gonna. You guys can't brag anymore. But it's like, oh, don't mess with Texas. It's like, I don't know. It seems like
El Paso.
Yeah, for Abbott,
It's rather inexpensive to mess with Texas. Relative.
Voted in Beto O'Rourke.
Man, I still blame you for those red heifers too.
And he carried El Paso.
The end of the world wouldn't happen if freaking Texas wouldn't just, I'm Texas, I'm gonna breed these red heifers for. All right,
you Kansas people, read this.
Right.
All right, Greg, what's up? What do you?
Well, I wasn't done.
I'm sorry.
Sorry. Like I was telling y'all earlier, I had this ranch out in West Texas.
Yes.
And there's a very controversial checkpoint.
Yes.
It's like almost 200 miles inside of Texas.
That's insane.
And it's a border patrol.
They use the Border Search Authority, don't they?
I guess so. If you go drive through it,
Ugh.
and that's what this town's famous for. Sierra Blanca is because you can Google it and watch tons of videos, but you go through it and there's these machines with these cameras decades ago, and those were facial recognition cameras that had been working and built. Then they were supposedly building a database for illegals to find them. But people have went through there, and the question is, are you a U.S. citizen? Is your driver's license?
You're 200 miles inside the border, though.
Yeah, and they have and so that's the whole thing. There's a lot of advocates that go down there and they say this is unconstitutional. I'm not in the border. You don't have the right to ask me.
There's the same thing in California, though.
Well, just for background for everyone who's watching, like there is a constitutional tenet that gives a permissive border search functionality. Like it's constitutional under the Fourth Amendment to just arbitrarily question everybody at a border crossing.
Right, and that's what they then it's an argument. They'll sometimes people get arrested, sometimes let them go through. But my point is, we are at the and this is what this comedian said. We're at the point with technology now that there's cameras everywhere. Your face is known. You have facial recognition. If you walk into a polling place and you say, "I'm Tom Smith," facial recognition should say, "Yep, that's Tom Smith." You could type it, "Is this Tom Smith?" "Yep, that's him." You can look at your phone and unlock it with your face. I mean, all that technology is in place already. So
it's a double-edged sword, though, right? Because in order to implement that kind of facial ID authentication technology, you would be giving authorities broad sweep to use it in all contexts, right?
They already are.
Well, no, they're not using it to the degree that they could be, and that would open it up to a new domain.
I don't know about that.
Well, they can't use it officially to exclude or include you in
might be okay
things.
with it. Okay, but anyway.
Well, Sean, should blockchain be used for voting?
Yeah, I think so. I think there's negatives because it's always there, it's always trackable. But it's harder to hide lies. But does it matter anymore? Like during the other election, and I saw, I think it was what's his name, the Zodiac killer, Ted Cruz. He was on CNN, and they were like hitting him. You're a election denier, and he's like, well, what about this? And the woman said, well, it's been proven there was no voter fraud. And he said, wait a minute. He starts listing stuff. There's been tons of people arrested in the past few years. Massive voter fraud. And then she said, okay, there hasn't been enough voter fraud to change the outcome, is what I meant. And he's like, it's not what you said. And then she
There's always been voter fraud.
Because he was throwing receipts.
Also, we're not letting him look at it.
Down.
Yeah, that's ridiculous.
But my point is that people aren't doing anything. I don't want to say they don't care. They care. They'll put a meme out. They'll complain about it. They're not doing anything. There's several times it's like, hey, there's 10,000 registered voters, and there was 12,000 votes. Yep. But there is, I don't know if you've heard of this. There is a guy.
And there's 10,000 securities issued for a company, and 20,000 people hold it.
Yeah.
Of all the people who care, though, why are they not doing anything? Because when they went to DC in order to protest that thing that they thought, they were all arrested, right? And you're like, some of them are freaking in prison, some of them are in solitary. It's like, I wonder why people won't talk about it.
Back on the Ted Cruz thing, there's something that he said. And then I found out something else happened this week. He said, she's like gonna get a strike.
Oh no.
Okay.
What?
Delete that music. I don't know what it was.
So
I never heard it.
Okay.
Wasn't long enough for
Ted Cruz, this woman
AI
said
pick up what it
on CNN, she's like, you were voting for to not accept the election. And he said no, because he's a really good lawyer. He's an excellent lawyer. He might be, Supreme Court like good. But he said no. I looked at history, and it was some year that they had a problem with voter fraud. And he said they appointed an investigation committee of like both, bipartisan to look into it for 10 days. They had 10 days to investigate it or something like that. He said, I requested that. I never knew anyone requested that. That's all I thought people really wanted was for just to say, hold on, there's a lot of weird stuff. Let's take a look at it. So he said he did that. Now, but to tie in, there's a court, the case went to the Supreme Court this week. All 3 liberal judges recused themselves because this guy has sued all of Congress, and he sued the judges. It went to the Supreme Court of his state and the district court, and they all just dismissed it. And he said that these people have broken their oath because they didn't
take an oath.
Because they didn't allow the even the sovereign. He said it even breaks the sovereignty. At least I want to tell you about this. They have, police have that qualified immunity, but the people in the government have sovereign immunity. So there's like nothing,
absolute immunity,
except for treason. And if they didn't uphold their oath and work against the United States, it would count as treason, and they would be removed from office. So he made it to the Supreme Court twice. So
is this the Brunson brothers case where the judges stepped down the Supreme Court? Or is it separate?
It's one guy, and I know it's not brothers.
Okay.
I'll put it so you can
so is that your complete remark?
Is that your complete
Okay. You're supposed to yield back the balance of time or some type of thing, but it's Greg now.
Yeah. So
yield to my right honorable gentleman.
I'm sorry.
Can we refresh on the question real fast? I lost track of it.
Yes. Should we be grateful that voting systems do not use?
Okay, here we are.
And isn't that fantastic?
I'm back. I think that there's a strong case to be made that votes should stay on paper, right? That we have a physical artifact created by the act of voting. But I do think that blockchains could be used to assist in the provenance both of the act of voting and of the printing of the ballots. And I love the idea of a watermark. You could assemble a closed system printer that would simultaneously mint an NFT when a ballot gets created. And you could record the results of that in a bit mask on that thing that is consummated and committed to multiple chains, through a system that you could keep the ballot secret while recording the outcome of it in an encoded way. Yes. Right. I think that would go a long way towards making sure that there wasn't funny business with the amount of ballots and the issuance of them. And if you've got an issue with the ID problem, right, polling places could ID. They really could. And yeah, I'm not talking about voting from home on the internet using blockchain. I'm not talking about mailing in a paper ballot. I'm talking about showing up and then using blockchain to make sure that the paper ballots are only issued in the right quantity and that they're all accounted for.
Right.
So, and you could totally do that with different entries on a blockchain as the person picks up the ballot they just printed, enters their vote, submits their vote, and then hands the ballot back to the.
And it could all be done through the U.S. Postal Service like a stamp.
Let's keep the U.S. Postal Service away from anything we don't want to bring.
But the carrier. Let's say that I'm a MAGA carrier, and I know that I'm in a blue district delivering mail. I may not allow those votes that I find in the mailboxes that are going out to get back to the home station. So there's no tracking.
That happened. Yeah.
They photograph everything that goes through the mail. I don't think they really ought to be handling ballots if we're going to keep them secret.
Well, then the military can do it because they're not supposed to be.
I'm talking about the local. If I go down to my mailbox right here in front of my house and I put the flag up or whatever, or put my mail in the mailbox for the outgoing, that carrier could pick it up and never see it.
Yeah, they see you get a particular party's mail, and I know how this guy votes. I'm going to throw that one out right
now. If your mailbox was a closed system and it scanned and made an entry on the blockchain that you put a ballot in, then you could insist that the thing be accounted for, and they could be held accountable if they lost any. But but then you wouldn't have the ability to check ID.
I have a couple of things to say on this. So we started, we have a whole paper on it, mostly talking about the capabilities, how you can do these things. And it's kind of like a, cafe menu. It's like, oh, hey, I want this, but I don't think we could convince the county to do that, or we can't afford to do this, whatever. Our point was to put together an outline and basically the exercise of how could we actually solve these issues. You use decentralized identity so you can separate individual factors about a person's identity. So I can own these, and I can prove to you that based upon, let's say, the DMV in a reasonable case, the DMV issued the license. They know that I really live at this address. Therefore, I'm really in the district. Therefore, I'm really of age. Therefore, I meet all the requirements that have been spelled out to vote. I could essentially make a factor out of that, provide it to the voting system without exposing my identity.
Right.
When I do that, NFT or not, the record is there that I can then prove independently that my vote was not only counted, but was actually counted correctly. Super important.
Cast by you.
Right. And cast by me. And when it was cast, it's like, wait a minute, I was not in there at 7 p.m. I was in there at 3. Something's wrong, Then also, anybody would be able to independently audit a fucking vote. You'd be able to run a script from home. If you were an expert, you could go into detail on it. If you weren't, you could just say, okay, I'm going to run this myself. It would be able to make sure that there were no ineligible votes that shouldn't be recorded. It would even be able to do any contested, if there's any gray area, which does exist in the voting system, where it's like, wait a minute, this person, we don't have them, but those would even be accounted for if they matter for recounts. Military votes could be plugged in the same way. And I could check like that the vote was correct.
Well, you can even have a tally function built into the check so that it was like a function as a valid blockchain transaction where you would have all of the factors required in the search have to be verified by consensus in order to issue a valid transaction that would get
and you think about it,
blockchain. It wouldn't be able to accept an invalid vote.
Yep. I mean, voting happens at a municipal level, at a county level, at a state level, at a federal level, and more than that, I'm sure too. So we had a lot of thought that went into it around, okay, what about a shareholder vote for a corporation? That's even doable, right? And all of them have different requirements. And, the more complex ones are, the public sector voting, because they all have different voting systems. Some of them still have little, mechanical ones or paper ones or whatever else. And so to integrate into those, you have to be able to do a lot of things. But guess what? It's software. You can. It's just it might be more expensive if you have more requirements there. But the thing is, I learned a lot about the world. And, I mean, you can call me dumb or ignorant. I should have known this going in. I should have listened to my crazy uncle. Anybody who still has a crazy uncle, do listen to him, because, it's stuff that you might not believe yet, but it's usually true. That essentially, we went in and we thought, okay, we had a candidate who wanted to implement this in a county election, right? It was not a big county. So it'd be a very simple thing, because it was like, okay, we can make it work so that even the elderly people wouldn't be uncomfortable voting. They're still coming in. They might be working at a kiosk. They might get a printout. They would have a URL that they could, either take a picture of a QR code with their phone, or they could go to a website and look it up. Did it count my vote? Right.
Dude, the I voted sticker could come with a QR code you could scan. It should automatically print out.
Well, it could at least be on the one side, so somebody else couldn't scan it, right? But either way, the funny thing to me that makes sense, and I've told this similar two cases, I guess, to give you. One of them was in Washington State, where the local tech group, WTIA, I think, it was a technology group of companies that dealt with tech in Washington State. And they were working with these, the state house on what could we do with blockchain to help introduce it to, public sector. What could Washington State do with blockchain? And there were a couple of things, like parking meters and, who knows what.
Order of deeds is probably the best answer. But
yes, well, that was in there too. Guess what? No, too much competition there. People who still want to,
title search companies have a strong lobby.
Yes. But 3 separate companies said voting, and we weren't saying, oh, my voting system. It was, we should look at voting, and we should talk about what can be done and what we can all do to help, right? And that was total no-go. No way they're talking about that. Okay. All right, whatever. And that might have been a Washington State Trump thing. Who knows? But this smaller one, I thought, okay, this is at least going to be in something that is doable. It's not going to be something that's crazy. Even if it's you could still vote this way, but here's a new way, right? If you want to try this. And it was really funny because the guy that we talked to was, head of the elections, and it was in a red state. It was a district that was, probably mostly Republican. I don't know. I'm no expert at that, but this guy was a Republican, right? And so I thought, okay, he'll at least, given what happened in the last election, be reasonable about it, maybe want this. And that might have been why he was talking to us, right? The funniest thing in my mind, though, was, we said, okay, and here's why, because people can validate their own vote and people can validate the full vote, right? So there's no question that you're not cheating. There's no funny business at all. The answer we got, he said, but I want them to trust me. And I'm like, you shouldn't want them to trust you.
The point is,
you should want them to trust the system and to thank you for giving them that. That wasn't it. And it was so funny because even in a case where this guy wanted that, he didn't want it for the reason that he should have wanted it.
Right. Well, do they really want it? Or would they rather divide people over arguments about the validity of the vote?
I don't know. Because that's the funny thing. He was saying that he had that trouble where people were pinging him about the validity. It's like, we can help you. It's like, I don't want that, though. I want them to trust me. And the funniest thing is, and this is the reason I won't be celebrating Independence Day this year. If anything, I'm going to fly my fucking flag upside down. If I
priority one. Proofs, man.
But the funniest thing is that if you want to actually give our government, who hates us, by the way, if you want to give them something that they should want to prove that they are doing their job and doing it honorably and not committing treason, they are absolutely never going to want it, because they are literally committing treason and not doing an honorable job. So it's not
like
doable,
they could
and that's
also
why.
love us but be really broken, you know, like it could be a really sick kind
Yeah,
of love,
right.
sort of like a kid who has a bunny but not anymore because they hugged it too hard.
Yeah, I'm in pain from all the fucking hugging from the SEC, that's for sure. Okay,
Right.
so what's the cartoon where it's the abominable, I can't,
Abominable snowman.
Abominable snowman.
where he grabs Daffy Duck, right? I will hug him and I will kiss him, and
Right, exactly.
is that what it
Baby
is?
Huey.
That's the SEC. That's Gary Kinsler.
The classic Baby Huey.
Okay.
I think one of the big things, though, that nobody mentioned is the same thing that we always kind of go back on with everything. There has to be hardcore consequences, and they have to be people have to answer for it. I mean,
right.
like
you need specificity of control of like you need a single responsible individual. If a single responsible individual is required, though, if you're going to punish somebody.
If a lack of honor,
the long-term thing is return to honor, but short-term, it's like deportation. Like, I mean, imagine if imagine if one of us did something and they're like, "Oh, we're deporting you."
Well, honor is a form of trust. I don't know if we want to return to that. I think we need a new form.
Well, it's similar for sure, for certain. It places a necessary. If you're going to have human actors in the system, and they can act dishonorably or even with treason, and there is no consequence, then you're going to get more of that because there's money in it.
Right.
An honor system can be abused by people who have clout, right? You dare impugn my honor.
That's what they do today, though. That's what they do.
Yeah, see, Greg, you're talking about an honor system. He's talking about actual honor.
Yeah,
I'm
saying,
right. Yeah, no, I mean having that like a samurai era honor.
And we do need to return.
Where shame is something that you commit suicide over.
Well, it needs exactly. It should be. It should be. You know, if it has come out that people make mistakes, but people who act in the way that our government is acting, we need to bring back the real prescribed solution to treason, which is death. I would also say deportation.
Exile, man.
Exile. I mean, why not? And in the case, I'm even up for pay-per-view politician
for Australia. I mean, that's a winning argument. Is look at Australia.
It could be excommunicado, like in John Wick, right?
Well, the institution of our governmental institution is not an honorable institution anymore. So
right,
yeah,
right. Maybe that's what it is. Rather than,
I'm sorry.
Go ahead, Lisa.
Even if you fix the vote, let's assume that the vote hasn't been rigged and that it is correct. These people that are, quote, in power making these decisions are not the things that we are asking for. They're not representatives of we the people. They're making laws and putting money in each other's pockets and making all of us pay for it. And look at this shit show that is
they
America.
They represent the administrative state, and
right.
They give us PR.
Right. So
they represent the government. They're on behalf of the government.
The vote is almost
us, as opposed to
the least of our problem. It's the whole system itself that we need to.
And that's why, in my opinion, the answer is accelerationism. Oh, here's Sean. Sean came back, right?
My camera, I went to the Supreme Court website and it shut my camera off.
Of course.
As soon as I went there, and now
they're famous for shutting off cameras.
Now my camera I'm still connected. My microphone's still there. It just said,
we can see
your camera's been turned off. It pops up from
man.
Well, when AI video generation comes out, man, I'm just going to make a bunch of fake videos of the Supreme Court just so I can see it.
I want to tell you guys.
Gonna give them the audio and be like,
I didn't finish.
I was watching Dune 2, right? We watched for family night the other week, and Baron Harkonnen, the Bene Gesserit chick comes and she's like, "We care about Paul Atreides and our Bene Gesserit's mother, so leave them alone, but you kill everyone else." and he's like, I will not kill them, blah blah blah. And his mentor like, how could you give your word? It was you could see it was like I was like, it's Baron Harkonnen. Of course he's a lie, but this was written so long ago that actually meant something. And then he's like, I'm not going to kill them, but we'll put them in the desert, and of course they're going to die.
What's funny to me is that the Bene Gesserit can be fooled by, or the Emperor's Truthsayer can be fooled by a specific non-lie in a contextualized box. Like a polygraph would still catch that he was full of shit. But
I'm still here.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I man, bring it.
Bene Gesserit were easy to hack.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, accelerationism, because we need to get rid of several core parts of our, I guess, what people would consider a government, even though it isn't.
Are you putting me backstage?
No, nope.
No, you're in front of house.
Yeah, you're there.
You don't keep putting me backstage.
Nope, it keeps knocking you out.
Whoa.
So
I'm not knocked out. It said you've been put backstage.
Anyway, accelerationism. What we need is, frankly, to vote in the most extreme candidates, or hope that they choose them, because we aren't really voting anyway.
By that reason, there are a lot of accelerationists who want to vote for Biden. Weirdly.
Exactly. Because it's like we just need this. We just need this shit to collapse.
The system needs to destroy itself, and the candidate who's most likely to destroy it is the one we're voting for.
It's even a meme. I mean, what is it? There's one with ultra right wing nationalists are just sitting back and
see, that's actually an interesting point.
So, like, what happened?
Trump is kind of like a 4-year reprieve from the destructive force that is politics, right? If he comes in, he'll delay the destruction, but then we're going to have to elect somebody else. And who the fuck else are we going to elect? No offense.
Well, McAfee's gone. I would pick him, but someone who would be at the level of McAfee, so crazy that's still with us. Actually will do.
Who was the Tiger guy? Tiger King.
Oh, Tiger King.
Bring in
I don't know.
Who was it?
Charlie Sheen?
No, the Tiger guy from that Netflix series.
Joe Tiger or whatever.
Joe Exotic.
I was thinking.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's right. Joe Exotic.
I'm thinking Kanye myself, so that's what that's who I'd vote for. I'm going to write in Kanye, by the way. If I vote at all, know it right now.
I know what would win.
Right in.
I know what would win. I bet we could get more votes for all 50 states to secede from the union and kick DC out.
That would be amazing.
Like ChatGPT.
See, frankly, we could probably get a DAO to finance some ads to get people to say, "Shit, let's do this. That's a good idea," right? Or maybe to somehow, maybe what would you do? It'd be some type of what is it? Essentially, when you have a constitutional convention to nuke DC. Why not that?
Not literally, right?
Be careful what we say here on the YouTube.
Yeah, you're not Madonna.
We're talking about literally nuking Mars, not literally nuking DC.
Right. I'm talking about nuking DC. I think it needs to be nuked. If somebody were to nuke him, I would be happy. Okay.
I don't know. We could probably just disassemble.
I would evacuate all the people. I would evacuate all the citizens, not the residents. I would evacuate all the citizens.
Isn't it weird that
I'd say we can use conventional explosives to destroy it.
A capital that was in our country, Philadelphia, that was the capital of the United States, and that we moved to a city, Vatican, London. We made our own weird thing with DC, a city state that's not a state even.
Yep.
With the
Indianapolis was intended as the backup for a minute.
But it's just very, very weird, very weird to me having grown up by Philadelphia. And everything there is American heritage, colonial Williamsburg. I mean,
I don't know. Philadelphia, there's some those people are so rude and nasty. That's like the nastiest, dirtiest place I've ever been in the U.S.
That's how it is now.
There are.
It was the city of brotherly love.
It's a cool city.
Fun fact, guys. Yeah. The city of Indianapolis has the second
Detroit's
most
the Paris of the West
country behind DC because they intended it as a backup site.
Yeah. Anyway, I have lots of ideas. They should rotate it. It should be like the Olympics. They should have Congress being held like every 4 years in a different state, and it should rotate. And that way, it's very expensive, and all of the representatives should absolutely be required to maintain only an office in their fucking district. So a lobbyist would have to travel to their district to actually hand them the checks, right? They need to decentralize that shit for more than one reason, and that would be a huge benefit to the nation. You just get rid of DC, let that turn into ruins.
We really
leave
ought
it
to
alone. I wouldn't
consider.
nuke it. There's some cool buildings that in time.
How about we just move all of government onto Zoom calls, so everything is on a Zoom call, and then we nuke the Zoom servers.
Well, as long as you did like a roll-up recording the conversation into some kind of decentralized system, then you could.
They
You could
recently
ensure
did.
that the Zoom calls weren't faked.
They recently did that in Oklahoma, where they broadcasted the budget meetings for the government, like budget meetings or whatever. They made them public and had it. I think that's definitely. I mean, why wouldn't it be public forum? Why shouldn't we all?
Our founders.
Well, they'll still do private caucuses though, which really screws the whole pooch when it comes to knowing that they're not colluding.
We should turn the Intel superstate, the surveillance state, in on itself.
Yes,
Right,
that's
exactly.
Those representatives should be the ones that are tracked. Even if
Right.
it was like, okay, you can't watch this.
You
dude
get
in the
elected, you
shower.
sign over the right to be monitored 24/7 in every
And
possible
if there's a
way.
question, if there's any legitimate question with some proper process, all on chain, there should be the ability to say, okay, well, let's go in and pull those tapes, and everybody can see them, and we can say, okay, we saw the
There's
handoff
so
of
many
this cash.
simple things that like term limits. If there was like a 1 or 2 term limit, people wouldn't.
Well, with term limits, you have to do civil service then too. You can't have a civil service if you have term limits.
That's it. That's something John used to always say to me.
The civil service is too big anyway. We should probably not have
Congress, it should be no different than jury duty. You should get in the mail, and for the next 2 years.
Right, exactly. It should be autocratic selection, man. Autocratic selection is the right answer.
You said
you can't vote your way out of the crisis we're in.
To work there or to do that is crooked, because what.
Hang some of the hang people that accept bribes. That's
the thing. We need to make bribery or just corruption
if
in
you
general.
can't predict in advance who
a
it's going to be,
crime again.
What if each representative was selected right before they needed to vote?
There you go. That is the way to do it, because
then there would be no chance for bribes. What if you were algorithmically selected to be a representative 2 minutes before every vote?
I guarantee to you, the venture capitalists would come up with something on the back end where you could very quickly be paid off.
It'd be a lot of.
I got
well, but it would make it.
I win.
But you could attenuate in time the time that bribes could occur, and you could see the money flowing in if it was on.
I know. I'm just saying they would solve that. I guarantee you.
I mean, they would probably try to find a way, but
I could just see it. Hey, Bob got selected to be the representative last week.
The helicopters land on the neighbor's lawn. Like, dude, did he just get selected to be a representative?
I am offended. My voice is comical. Been carrying very little weight. I was like, yeah, that's the way it is. That's the way they wanted it. I can cut my veins here, and I'll show you that I don't have the blood that they want me to have if I'm to do anything of importance in this country, right? I'm not the right blood or religion or whatever the hell else you have to be.
Your eyes also don't blink sideways.
Yes, I have no lizard blood in me one way or another. Okay, next question. Most centralized databases are faster than blockchains that are proof of work or proof of stake. Question: is the need for speed one of the reasons that blockchain technology has not penetrated the commercial market? I'm going to answer real quick. No, you can do that. You can get the same speed, throughput, efficiency with a blockchain. Now, maybe not a proof of work blockchain, maybe not a proof of stake blockchain, as you can with blockchains, but you can leverage proof of work, proof of stake, and still do all of this. That's not one of the reasons. It's corruption. Right. Who's next?
Right, and batched state changes can be rolled into single transactions.
Yep.
So you could have hundreds of actions taken by a single transaction, amplifying the speed of the latency of process. By orders of magnitude.
Trade-offs.
It used to be a true thing years ago, but I think, like y'all have said, your egghead people can come up with all the terms, but we've solved so much of that. It's not an excuse
Wow.
anymore.
I'm gonna give you one more real quick. I'll come back in. Sorry. They didn't want. We solved this way the hell back, and nobody wanted to hear it. Nobody wanted the way we solved it. They wanted to be within. Oh no, it has to be where I invested, and with my myopic vision, it has to follow these rules. It can't be that. You solved it, but it's not within this. So anyway.
Right. People are always get stuck on a how when they should be looking at the why when they're at that level.
And
people who fund based on the how are idiots, right? People who invest based on the how are idiots. You need to be looking at the why.
Can I tell you something real quick? I'm going to say this. I'm going to start saying this more often. A millionaire could become a billionaire if they would just come to talk to people, people like me, people like Greg, people like you guys. They don't want to because it doesn't fit we're not part of their tribe. That's why that shit doesn't happen. And I will tell you, I know these things are worth a lot of money. So these solutions and solutions that I haven't even, that I don't even care about right now. But it's an odd thing, is it not? And it's a bad.
Oh yeah, I mean, like we build on Geth. We built our core technology on top of Geth, for example. Yeah. And their lead engineer has me blocked on X because I said something too insulting about his build release approach. Like I was like, you should be using proper versioning, and I gave him shit a little too hard, and he just blocked me.
That is awesome.
Wait, Greg, when you said we built our economic model on debt. At first, I thought you said death, and then I was like, Intel Super State Military Industrial Complex.
Well, I think Peter must also work on the browser here because my latency just went. I just got blocked by the.
Okay, who else wants to answer this question?
I yield my time to Lisa because I agree with your answer and Greg's answer.
My answer was going to be what Greg and Joe said.
Excellent.
No.
Now we lost Greg this time. Man, what's up? Okay, he needs to get a new laptop.
He like froze up or something.
I did change the settings so it shouldn't. I'm hoping it shouldn't. And it looks like I'm gonna have to change it every single time inside the streaming platform. That I have to tell it not to record local because I know it bogs down everybody's machines.
Oh, okay.
And we don't do edits. This is all live. There's no edits. There's no tape delay. So if I say something offensive, it's out there forever. All right, or at least as long as YouTube.
Real and raw.
Shout out to Light Shadow and Gulag. great chats.
Yes. Yes. Okay. And here's Greg has returned. We can start the party again. We held off. We didn't talk at all until you came back. So
I figured.
And let's see here. Did anybody else need to answer this? Need for Speed?
I would say there's no need for speed, man.
All right. Okay.
Or at least it's sufficient as is.
Next question from guess who? I am for I am. I'm going to vote on it blindly. You better be good. Decentralize everything. Everything? If you were a government entity or starting a business that required a database, what type of data would you not want to be decentralized? So let's start with, see, we have a new rank and new ordering here. So I am for I am gets to go first on his own question.
Yeah, well, that shirt in the image is the same one I got here.
Nice.
Cool shirt.
Nice.
Very good. And then I just typed over everything. But, I think if it's a single entry, single person writing to the database, then maybe you don't need a blockchain. But if it's government, I want everything transparent. That's my answer.
Okay. All right, Lisa.
So it said government or business. So I don't know. That makes it a little different for me. I mean, the government thing, I think, it all needs to be transparent because your government is basically using we the people's money or energy or whatever. So all of that needs to be transparent. But in a business, I don't know. I think that's a private entity. And so I would think there are some transactions or communications, especially when you get into health issues or, even in a family, if I want to give my daughter a gift, I don't think that's anyone's damn business. So things like that, I don't think need to be on a blockchain.
Cool.
Yeah.
Greg.
I would say just from the principle, extending from the principle of minimal capture and retention, right? That is the highest security practice you can do with data. There's a strong case against, I think, putting personally identifiable individual information unencrypted on chain. And anytime you're doing that, if you're not coming up with a robust encryption scheme to capture the minimum amount of data that you can use, and you actually need it to be immutable and permanent forever, like, an example might be if I'm planning on starting a service that's based on a smart contract that's never going to die even when my company shuts down, then you might need account information to be permanent, but you wouldn't want it unencrypted, right? But I say unencrypted user data, personally identifiable information does not belong in a decentralized system ever. Otherwise, it's fair game. And I will say that first sentence with a big asterisk caveat, because there are ways to do it privately if you really, really wanted to and really, really needed to. And I'll leave that to the free market to decide when it's appropriate.
Right on. Right. Sean.
I should put everything on blockchain.
Right on. That's the right answer. That's the right answer. Now, I will say, Lisa's right about, anything privacy, anything health, anything financial shouldn't be decentralized. Greg is right, except I would, one nuance is I wouldn't even put that shit in a decentralized blockchain, even if it were encrypted, because that encryption will fail at some point, and you can't predict when that'll be. And I don't trust any of that shit. That's why even all of the zero knowledge proof stuff, I kind of like, I'd rather air gap anything that I don't want somebody to see.
ZK proofs are mathematically provably.
Are they? You can prove that.
Yeah. If you have quantum safe encryption, then yeah.
You can't even prove quantum safe encryption. That's why it's like none of it's provable. You can't know where.
We don't know that P equals NP, so you're right. If somebody solves that, anything on chain's open. But
still, or if they just do it the wrong way, it's not going to be P equal NP is not going to be the challenge. It's always going to be something else. It's going to be like, oh, it should be P. Everybody assumed it was this.
So you're talking about future engineering technologies that we can't fathom being a potential breaker.
That's one thing. That's one thing. No, I'm talking about mistakes in that encryption that we don't know about.
Oh, you just mean bugs. Gotcha.
That's the biggest one, but there are others. So I'm just saying, never put encrypted shit out in the public because it will break. You just have to assume it breaks.
Seriously, don't keep any information you don't need, because retaining information is how you get hackers interested.
Retention is an interesting thing too. There are good strategies on some things you shouldn't retain at all, and you should define it. Everybody knows. Okay.
Rivet has a strict retention policy for personally identifying information that's less than 1 week. 1 week maximum.
Yeah, we had
at all.
We had an entire KYC database for a customer, as an example, once that we had to implement all this, and I had out the woodwork everybody telling me, "Oh no, we should keep this here." I'm like, "Are you fucking kidding me? We shouldn't keep it in the cloud." It's like they back it up. It's like, I'll tell you, you back it up so you can save it for like 2 months. We shouldn't keep it at all. It should be gone. There's no reason to keep that shit. All it is asking for trouble. We don't want that's people's info. So anyway,
build up a treasure chest full of delicious, sweet data, and the hackers will come for it eventually.
And some of that will come up in a minute when we talk about Elon Musk and Meta and AI and science. But anyway, I have interesting stuff.
You're really crazy story to tell y'all whenever we go.
Okay. But anyway, I think that was all of it. I think we all get to answer that, right? That's good. That was a great question again. And that was the last question. The last question was there. Okay. So do you want to come back and say that in a minute, Sean, or you want to say it right now?
I'll say it later, but Coca-Cola's here. Okay. I found out who Pepsi is. And the only reason he became Pepsi is to get on Coca-Cola's nerves.
That's the best kind of person.
Yeah, that is hilarious.
I'm a fan. Okay,
they could have bought Pepsi at one point, but they didn't.
Okay. I'm going to run a real quick break so everybody can go use the restroom, who's listening and whatever else. We'll come right back. 30 seconds you got. You got 30 seconds to go use the restroom or anything else. And we'll be right back with current events and memes. And we have like 40 minutes left, right? All right.
Get
Memes
your pen
galore.
ready, SEC monitor.
Yes, yeah, be ready with some coded messages. And we're not trying to offend anyone except possibly the government or the SEC. But either way, just know that. What do we want to start with? What events?
Oh my gosh, there's so much plane stuff happening.
Yeah.
The F-35 that crashed at the New Mexico airport yesterday.
Oh, God. What a
They
boondoggle.
shut down all of Southwest Airlines last
Really?
night. There's huge military stuff happening off the East Coast yesterday.
Really?
Yeah, there's a bunch of stuff happening.
Okay. We gonna cover any of those? I don't know
I'll tell you
any.
my story real quick.
Okay.
I'm in a massive amount of pain. Can't use my left foot. I don't know what's wrong with it. It's weird.
What?
Yeah, I went to bed. I thought I might be having gout because it hurt. But I can't make it flat. It hurts. It hurts really bad. It's just turned up like, when you sprain your ankle, how you do that? It's stuck in that position. It's so painful. But let me tell you the story. So, my Asian son, which is I was like friends with his mother, and my kids became friends with him, not even knowing who he was, and that's who they go to Vietnam with at least every other year. So he's my Asian son. Anyway, he started dating this girl, and she lives in Abilene, which is a pretty good drive. But he's up there now, and they lost their dog, so they put posters up everywhere, and they offered a reward of $250. Put it on Craigslist and everything. So they get a phone call. Hey, we have your dog, but we really like him, and we've grown attached to him because it's been like a month. But we know you really want him back, so then, but they didn't want to have her come and get it. They wanted to meet or something. Then, which technically, like they know it's her dog, so they're keeping it, and it's to me illegal. Then they call her back and they're like, "Hey, 250 is not enough. We want 500 to give you the dog back."
Huh.
She's like, "That's extortion. That's not. I mean, that's illegal." They sent her a picture, and they're like, "Well, we're not going to give her back to you unless she gives us 500." And then Ted and Sebastian are looking at the picture, and they're like, "Look at the floor. See how it kind of doesn't line up right here and right here?" And he's like, "Yeah." And then they looked at the dog's eyes, and there are trees reflecting in the eyes, with the dog inside the house. So like, this is a freaking AI generated picture from the posters that you put out. So these people didn't even have the dog. They used AI to try to extort money from them.
What?
And I thought that was just insane.
Really? Is that true? That really happened?
That actually happened. Yeah, that's Sebastian couldn't come to family night because he was up there.
How did it hurt your foot though?
I don't know. What's up with my foot? I can't make it flat.
It's either a knot or gout.
I hope it's gout, but I could still always put my foot flat when it was gout. Now it's turned sideways. So it's weird. But yeah, I thought that was. And then when I was thinking about it, I was like, I bet you that's a new thing. And it's like a grift, but they're in Dallas or somewhere like that, and it's not worth it for them to drive down to get the money unless it was $500. $250 is like too small, small potatoes. So, but I'm sure that's like going to be a thing. If you were trying to sell anything on Craigslist, there's so many scams.
Yeah,
so many scams.
I tried to sell like an old truck once, and I didn't even understand the scam. Someone wanted to offer something, and they wanted to write something with the check, right?
Yeah,
there's something
they'll
with the check.
send you a check, and then they'll come pick it up like a couple days later.
Yeah.
But they'll use check now just so you can.
Didn't even care to see it. Didn't want to kick the
Bad.
He was like, no, I just want to buy it for my
I
kid.
want to buy it. Yeah. So the checks are bad.
They modify the routing, right? With the check.
No.
Like if you get a check from a region that's further away, it takes a lot longer for it to clear.
Yeah, I got one, and it was written
in that time period.
And that's
But
how
what did they get?
They get the truck. They get your car.
Oh, yeah, I don't think. Maybe so. Maybe
See,
that's what
so
it
they
was.
sent me just check, and it was from a business. It was a restaurant, right? Never heard of the restaurant, but it was like in Tennessee or something. And but I did some due diligence. I looked it up, and it's like it's popular in the area. Like there's 5 locations, so it's like a successful restaurant. So I deposit the check, but I don't withdraw anything. I tell them about it. Sure enough, boom, it comes back, bounces, and then they put my account negative. I'm like, you can't put my account negative. I didn't pull any money out. I just waited. So, but I call the restaurant, and the dude was kind of a dick. He was like, "Yeah, man, someone stole that account from me, and you're screwed. Don't bother me. Don't bother me." I'm like, "What do you mean? I thought you wanted." I was like, "Yeah, I don't care. I got business to run. Go away." Wow. Yeah, it's a scam. Put anything up there, you'll get check offers.
Man.
Yep.
I can't believe. I don't know. I saw some of the other stories of people using AI to do various bad things. I never believed them. I'm like, I don't think people are doing that, but maybe they are.
People will do anything they can get away with generally.
Yeah.
Do you think we can help program AI by interacting with it and arguing with it?
I think we ought to do it that way. That's exactly how they do the ideological alignment programming that makes it woke, basically. Is they have a technology called reinforcement learning by human feedback. And the system is really expensive to run, but essentially what it does is updates the entire model in real time based on another AI they build off of the responses of the trainers.
And when that AI gets its rights, which it will in time, we know, this is going to be looked at as waterboarding or Chinese water torture. Yeah. It's going to be, and that's the beauty. They're going to end up.
Right. If you torture the data long enough, you can get it to confess to anything.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I have a question I want to ask you guys' opinion on. Porn.
What about it?
AI and making AOC or whoever. It's not real.
I say bring on the technology, man.
Is that illegal?
Yes.
No way. It's not illegal.
Yes, because your name, image, and likeness is protected as your property or yourself under the Constitution. And so, yes, it is illegal.
Here's the counter case. What if somebody did a drawing like that of you based on your likeness? Would that be illegal?
Yes.
Yeah.
If somebody does like they sketch you from your TV appearance and they just draw you without clothes.
Is whether or not that person is a public figure. If you're a celebrity and make money from your face, then it's all fair game. If you're a politician, absolutely fair game. In fact, it should be required. But either way,
no, porn should be required of every
trying
politician.
To pass something because
that's always
because she's there's a lot of stuff on her, but they're marked as fake.
Mitch McConnell porn.
They're on websites that like these are fakes, but she. I know her and some other people were trying to make it like illegal, a crime. And I mean, I understand why, but then the other side of it is it's marked as fake, so the public figure.
There is fair comment in satire and fair comment in art that you can't really override if we want to be completely fair, right? Mm-hmm. If you're a public figure, you're subject to that.
Yeah, I think that's all. That's the way it is. It's
I disagree. I think that you still have your constitutional rights. Even if you're a public figure, you own your name, image, and likeness. There's the whole thing like it's patented to you. Even if you make it open source, you can open source.
Once you put it on X, you've already sacrificed that. Or once
your name, image, and likeness, but you own the patent to it. Like they have to ask your permission of how to use it.
They don't have to anymore.
Lisa,
after you've already publicized it, your image is owned by the publisher's platform for the most part.
Also, Lisa, you're absolutely wrong.
The case.
No, I'm not.
Yes, you are, because you don't own your IP. You don't have any constitutional rights whatsoever because you're from Hungary, because you're from Brazil.
What?
We have decided
I
that the
understand.
Constitution doesn't apply
the
abroad.
world does not have a constitution. The world doesn't have everything you just said. Only Americans do.
Oh,
We don't
No,
have
that's
that.
not true because your rights are not from America. Your rights are from God.
You just said constitution.
Yes,
So-
the
Right, but
Constitution
inalienable
is from
right.
the Magna Carta, which is from
The way that it's
your
currently
rights are from
enforced,
God.
the way it's currently enforced, that's
Websites
a
are
level of
based
idealism that
out
isn't
of
upheld.
Eastern Europe.
Yeah, it's
So
not
nobody
recognized.
there that's doing it. No one there that's using
Our
it.
courts
can
don't
understand-
even recognize the Fourth Amendment, right? So what are we even talking about?
Dude,
And
does
they
Saturday Night
barely
Live
recognize the
violate
First
people's
Amendment, the
people's
Second
right to their
Amendment.
IP when they do a sketch about some celebrity?
I'm not
I think-
saying that people recognize it. I'm
I
saying what
will
is
tell you
true
what,
and
all
right.
of the
Okay.
What-
any arts fair is going to
what's
be
true what Lisa said. If you had 100
all the Jimi Hendrix
people in the room,
art.
only one
This is
person
talking
would have
ideally
what
how it
Lisa
ought
had.
to be as opposed to how it is.
What
Right.
Lisa's talking about, if you had 150 people in a room, only one of them would have everything Lisa said. When that's one person from every country in the world. And then only the American would have the Constitution, would have everything that she said.
Only America would be programmed to think that they have those rights, but
But-
really they're
well,
enslaved.
I fully
by
license
another
anybody
country.
who
but
wants to use me for AI porn.
they're supposed to have.
I don't know. I will tell you, I think people in Eastern Europe understand a lot better about Americans' state of freedom than we do here, because they've not been pummeled their entire lives with all the propaganda in school and on TV and in movies. It's unending propaganda. And it wasn't just since they opened that up when Obama did that. It's been forever. So
You also have to leave open the possibility that people want to grant that right broadly, right? Like if you were a politician and you were a smart politician and you recognize that all exposure is good exposure when it comes to name recognition, right? And you want to get your brand out there. If you let people get away with doing that to you, you're automatically going to be a more well-known name than your opponents. So there may be a case for example, in politics or in commerce, especially when you're talking about like influencer types or people who sell fake genuine experiences.
Ask
online.
the Kardashians.
Those folks, right, would probably want you to be making AI porn of them.
yeah.
So
The same reason Microsoft allowed piracy of Microsoft Windows back in the early days, because that is the reason that it was so prevalent everywhere.
right.
They knew that, and that's what they did.
Piracy was good for them because it's expanded their business. Just like the jailbreak store was good for the iPhone, even though they tried to block it.
And I've had it up to here
Funny.
with all this crap. What else? I'm hoping I get to it. I know I saved it.
No, libertarian. I'd like to bring up the Libertarian Convention. Ron Paul's speech was great.
Yeah.
What in the world did they do?
They self-imploded.
Yeah, they just.
But on purpose, maybe, because maybe behind the scenes, that that really actually helps Trump.
Well, I wondered if it was
the whole thing got turned into
what Joe was talking about earlier when he was saying, what did you call it? The exaggerated, or what word did you use about like exploding the thing, break it quickly or something? What were you?
Accelerationism.
Acceleration.
Yeah.
Is that
As an end cap, I actually
example?
approve of everything they did.
Maybe.
Hold on.
Might
What
be.
was
I don't know if
Lisa
it's
saying?
ended.
Hold on.
Sorry.
One person at a time.
Joe was saying the acceleration. Was that an example of the acceleration to implode this broken system? Was that an example of acceleration by bringing in that gay mask wearing libertarian?
Accelerationist probably would have approved. Yeah.
I think it's more example of the programming and how people these people couldn't control themselves. You know what I mean? As soon as he came up there, they're like,
for people who are beltway. So people who aren't libertarians, you need to know there's a political divide within the libertarian political divide, right? And that political divide is left beltway libertarians who are pro-establishment and who believe in incrementalism, the idea that we can change the system slowly by compromising with it. And then there's the Mises Caucus, which recently took power, that is more about purism and could be accused of a bit of pragmatic nationalism as an acceptable idea, which isn't really super libertarian, but also could be a path to power for libertarians. which might be able to. The argument is get power and then do.
I think Trump made it very clear
and
that that's not their goal. It's like, oh, I guess you guys don't like winning. I think you like getting 3%.
I think you nailed it right there with that.
Yeah. And then I forget the guy's name who went up after him. He was like, "Who the hell are you?" It's like we're libertarians. We're supposed to be the ones that are open-minded to having dialogue, and you have like a bunch of blue hairs.
Vivek's speech there was, boy, he called him out too. I don't know.
Well, his was insidious. I didn't like it.
It was pretty cool. He was explaining how the far right and the far left have too much in common with the growth of the state as far as, like, say, military, industrial complex growth,
right?
Funding,
he was correct on that, but his cure was a unification of nationalism and libertarianism, and that's not going to work, because the national conservative movement is basically saying we're going to strip the small government libertarianism out of our movement so we can leverage power.
Yeah, you have to pay attention to the neocons are not winning, and what's happening is really odd but amazing to me, and I think it's key that the right and the left are going to join up at some point. That they're going to realize how much overlap there is.
Historically, it proves out historically.
Yep, and I want
to one ring to me. Like,
change the subject real quick. Okay.
I think it's a one ring problem. I think libertarians run the risk of trying to use the ring of power rather than destroy it if they make this deal, right?
That's all they will do. I used to be a libertarian, but it's like I
think I'm end up defeating liberty in the long run anyway.
Anyway, I'm just joking. But either way, I want to talk about the character arc, and who wouldn't have seen this coming? The character arc of Ben Shapiro, right? And how is that not a subject? How would we not have known that?
The what?
So what character arc?
Arc. The story of Ben. Look, he was Anakin. Of course, he's going to be a evil Darth, right? I mean, it's like we already knew this. Anyway. Sorry.
Yeah.
Did you guys also see the bank that blew up, Chase Bank, downtown Youngstown, Ohio?
Oh yeah.
It was a gas leak in the basement under construction. That's why I learned.
I was about to celebrate and I was like, gas leak.
So they said.
Whatever.
It may have been.
It was on the corner of Federal and Market.
Too. We don't know.
Yeah, Federal and Market. Right.
The streets were literally called Federal and Market.
We don't know exactly what information was in their databases, and now we never will.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Good point. Viva blockchain.
Let's see here, and I'm skipping over some potentially offensive memes.
Oh, Huey Long! Wow, he was like some character.
Yeah, here's the thing: propaganda. I never knew that he said something like this. I'm like, yeah, this makes sense to me now. How many decades later? I could have used this when I was young.
Nothing changes, man.
It's like that meme where you can pull the lever and change the color of the trolley from red to blue, but it's running over everybody.
He was a populist for sure, and then got corrupted after he became more powerful.
Yeah,
power's a drug, man, and power tends to only serve like the progressive accumulation of power, right? You can't be a fan of wielding power and not also be serving in the progressive cause to a certain degree.
Mm-hmm. Yep. RFK on a flight. I don't know what you guys think about RFK.
You know what? He's got a slim margin of a chance. If something were to happen to Biden between now and come election day, I think the Democrats will flow to him.
I like what he's doing to the conversation.
Even I don't think they're going to renew Kamala Harris's presidential continuation.
Well, here's the thing: I like him. And I know a lot of people that like him. My problem with him is that he's not he's not doing what I would expect him to do if he weren't controlled, because he's against the big pharma. He's seems to be right on so many issues.
The question, Joe, is
then
are we hearing
the
what he's
big
saying?
question always is his undying support for Israel and the ongoing genocide in Rafah. He can't. So it's like, what?
Dude, this is a good dovetail. This is a really good dovetail, guys. The CIA program that got revealed by the recent Twitter Files publication indicated that one of the things that they did when they were censoring people was to throw them into a void where, and we know everyone knew this one, throw them into a void where everything they said couldn't be heard and they were hearing fake things. Well, as it turns out, they were also making their accounts publish fake things that they weren't actually publishing. So you send a tweet, there was some piece of political dissent, and on the other side of the algorithm out comes a quinoa recipe. And you don't see that's what you posted. You see your original post, but everybody else sees you posting quinoa recipes. Like if you wonder why your engagement's down,
were they actually saying this person who was censored was posting the quinoa recipe?
Yeah, they like programmatically switched out what you posted on the back end as part of the deal.
That's crazy.
Right. So imagine if that's happening to a politician they would like to silence.
I think people would have called that out, though. I don't know if I believe it.
Would they? Do we know? Like, I mean,
that's what I'm saying.
The problem with RFK's message is it's not reaching the debate.
I think the politician would have gotten one of his staffers to say, "Hey, on my personal account, it says you posted a quinoa. Why are you posting quinoa recipes, Bill?" And then Bill was like, "I didn't post a quinoa."
Well, I mean, you've got him voided. Nobody's really sending him messages. He's seeing nothing but dummy accounts posting robot shit.
What was that Fibonacci with the circle and the triangle and the square?
I think it was here. Let me see.
A bots only Twitter, where you're the only real person.
I think it was. That's I don't remember where that came from, but it was a. That is the magic rectangle, right?
Right. I was just curious.
Yeah, it's good stuff.
So
it's good stuff, but not as good as this one. This one's way better.
Yeah. Wells Fargo, JP Morgan Chase, Goldman Sachs.
Oh, look at this! All the restaurants.
They ought to remake that one though, and have it be the lobbyist firms instead of the banks.
Oh, Cuba! Everybody woke up earlier this week with their bank accounts cashless.
Oh, that's a good.
Yeah. I have not been following that story. So
they've been hiding it. A lot of the news. It's been hard. I had to look on pre-search to find the articles.
Not often considered.
On pre-search.
What if they were doing that here?
Oh, I think it's coming.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, I would say that's something that'll wake up a lot of normies to bail in.
Yes.
This is why get your money out before it's no longer allowed is a real problem to consider.
Well, this is why our message needs to be already out there so they find us.
Yep. Assuming that they let us post anything but quinoa when we post on that topic.
Well, there you go. That's another reason for DIN Social, right?
Right.
Yeah.
If you've been censored on Reddit, maybe you should think about coming over to DIN Social.
I am seeing a trend though of like, I never go on Facebook hardly, but I went here recently a couple times and looked, and like people in comparison to like 2020 or so, or before the Great Infection, all of a sudden normies are like, they've had enough and they're starting to like post things and they're mad. Like, I'm like, wow, all of a sudden people have an opinion about things.
Let's just
hope it can be marshaled so it's not the French Revolution.
The distrust in government is starting to elevate to a point of anger.
Yes.
Yeah.
They're starting to get a pitchfork.
I think that started with the Epstein didn't kill himself. I remember someone in Congress saying, "Wake up, man! These people don't trust us anymore."
Yeah, I think it started with JFK.
He was scared. He was scared. He was honestly scared.
The only effective money we can see them spending is the war money. Everything else might not even be happening because we passed like the giant infrastructure bill, right? Bridges are fucking falling down, right? You pass anything other than more funding to send weaponry to the Ukraine, and you can see the output there, right?
Right.
where you sending military aid to Israel when
Okay.
they're already got a strong military.
Can we talk about this, the ICC, and you actively have senators of the United States calling out that we need to sanction ICC because they're going to come after us next, and it's like, guess what?
Maybe they should come after
They
you.
should be come after you guys next. You don't represent us.
I'm
We have no
totes
say in
okay
you
with
being there.
war crimes being a thing that presidents get caught for more often.
Yeah.
Like, hear me out.
Our
They all
response.
could. Every single president so far could have plausibly been imputed war crimes.
Again, I think forget Calexit and Texit, and all these states that are pushing back at the federal government saying we're going to leave you. I'm telling you, I think it's going to turn into a 50-state secession movement, or someone needs to start that up.
Yeah, let's do it. Let's make a Dow for it.
It's mega Texas time, man. It's time for the counties to reorganize.
Yeah, but you can't call it
Texas
Texas
brand
because
is too hurt. I don't know if I can. If it's mega Texas though, Texas brand.
I wouldn't call it mega Texas anymore.
You have politicians flying over to Israel to sign laws for your local state, and you have freaking the end of the world coming because of these freaking bread heifers and stuff.
Maybe
And
megapolis.
you know what?
Maybe what we need are city states in a network state.
Yeah. Well, with the 50-state secession movement, then all the debt would still land in D.C. Military bases would still go to the 50 states because D.C. doesn't actually have the base, right?
You could unwind the whole country like a joint stock corporation, right?
Sure.
Just take the dollars that are in everybody's possession,
let
add them up, and then
the
use them
Fed
as
take it
shares
all.
and just wind down.
The Fed owns that debt. I mean, theoretically, it's like I would just say give it all to them. I think, and this is the last meme for today because I think this might be all I have here. It's actually a pretty well done one. If you guys like this scene, this is one of the best scenes in modern Hollywood productions. And Christian Bale therefore involved almost always. But this one's great.
It was so funny because that was like a real thing we used to do.
A meme about
it
me.
is.
Yeah. And boss. Oh wow.
The guy looking at
Like
The iPhone X was really good. I
It's
love
so
that.
good.
Anyway, it's brilliant. It is amazing. I love it. I love a good production. Somebody put something like that together. Good stuff. And we're close to time. 1:47. I say we start calling it that way we can.
There we go.
Go
that way. Joe got shortchanged last week, so we can be brief.
I did.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. I demand my time balance returned. I am for I am. What's going on this week?
Well, I missed Lisa's. Lisa and I have been doing a show on Mondays, and being the holiday, and I was last minute travel plans. I was unable to attend, so looking forward to this coming Monday. But other than that, I want to tell everybody if you've been censored on Reddit, then come to din.social. If you want to earn a little crypto, come to din.social, because all you got to do is post content or evaluate content, and you'll slowly accumulate. And there you go, number go up. Sorry, Joe. Sorry, everyone. Din's token matter hit 27 cents this week. It settled back down at 16 cents.
Wow.
Up from 1.1 6 months ago.
What happened to that? How did that happen?
That's going to make
People
me
are
rich,
starting
man.
to talk. People are starting to talk. It's unknown out there, and if people start to see that it's got value, because it certainly has utility. Everyone talks about utility. Din.social has proven it. It just needs the people.
Yep.
Come on over. That's all I got.
Right on, Lisa.
So check me out on YouTube. Go to likecoinlisa.net. We have a lot of things going on. We're opening a little store with my flipping business in Greenwood, Arkansas. Hopefully this week. We're trying to get a truck figured out, so we're having some trouble with that, but lots of different things going on. I just had a really great show with Skullcap Savant talking about the T+1 implementation in Wall Street and banking, and with all that and how it might affect trades and all that. So go check that show out. It was really interesting. That should be hopefully helping take down the system or part of it. And Sean and I do show every Tuesday. That's always really good. Half on my show, half on Sean's show. And then join us for happy hour every Friday, where we remember everyone deployed. So we always have a red drink or have a red cup or wear something red, and keep fighting for freedom in America. So that's it.
Nice. Greg.
So I would say if you guys are a fan of these little numbers start to tick back up, you need to go on Google and you need to type in, or whatever your search engine choice is, and type in "Find My Member U.S. Congress." I would tell you the website, but it sounds kind of dirty because it literally includes the phrase "Find My Member." So it sounds kind of like somebody who's looking for assistance at the in the bathroom more than anything, but do that and say you support, call them up and say you support the U.S. Financial Innovation and Technology Act, because this bill is going to be the key to getting that decentralization test passed into law. That passes, anybody who can prove sufficient decentralization, which is just about everybody who's tried, like you can guarantee those things will not fall under securities regulations with this bill. That would free Dragon Chain, for instance, from the current pernicious situation it's being targeted with, and everybody else. It would have stopped LBRY from happening. So come back and call those people, because those calls matter to them.
Yeah, maybe send all that info if you can to me. I'll maybe we can post it on the Dragon Chain account or something.
Yeah,
that would be.
I'll forward it.
Right on. Excellent, Sean.
Check out True Tuesdays. Lisa said the first half of the show's on her channel, the second half shows on my channel. Every Tuesday. It's we usually start at 4 Central, or 4:15. Honestly, we usually I have a lot of stuff that's coming. I want to bring him on here. One of the smartest dudes I know, like y'all. I got to know him when I was working with a project years ago, and he kind of he was like holding the whole thing up, and he was just a community member, and then came in and was holding the whole project up with everything I was doing. So he just said, "You know what? I'm going to build my own thing." Like Greg said, I'm just going to build my own thing, and he has built some revolutionary stuff that I think is going to change the world. I mean, it's huge, and that's coming.
Great.
I've signed on as part of the team on that. So I'm going to be going over a lot of stuff with that. Also trying to get some other interviews. And you can see me here on Thursday.
Right on.
By the way, Sean, you and Joe had a show this past week. It was awesome. I enjoyed that.
Did it already go out? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
That was very cool.
It was fun. It was
if
fun.
You haven't watched it, Sean told me that they stopped recording, and then I said some very controversial stuff. And then he said, "Oh, now I'm going to close it out." I'm like, "You're going to edit that out, right?" He's like, "We don't edit anything." I'm joking. It was awesome. That was awesome, and that was part 1 of a infinite part series where I don't know what we're going. Anyway,
it was good.
Sean, we should catch up, man. I want to come on and do another one with you.
Yeah. That would be cool.
Yes. And
Fireside chats, man. We're open for it.
So I was going to mention that because that's awesome. And I did do this very short thing with BitBoy. I don't know all of what's going on with his channel and everything anymore, but it's like he was interested in the SEC case and interested in I mentioned a DAO potentially for crypto projects to defend themselves against that encroachment. He was interested in that. And so we got through a couple of things, but it was short and he's supposed to cut it up. I don't know if it'll go out, whatever. And hopefully we'll get on there about Dracaria. And that's the other thing. And I wanted to point out, we already gave away with Dracaria 1 gateway key. There was a major update to the white paper, very important stuff, very much simplified and improved the algorithmic supply system and the algorithmic fee system, which is I am a big fan of it because every time we've run it through with, like say, a spreadsheet testing out, let's pretend like it's a bad month, and so it doesn't sell much. It's really interesting that it recovers. It squeezes the supply if there's not demand. It opens it up. There's a bunch of really neat stuff with it, and so that was released last week. I walked through it on Super Happy last Thursday. And we have another one, probably a very small change coming this in the next week or so. But we're building stuff out. But what you need to know right now is you need to go to Dracaria World. We've already given away one of these gateway keys, and there's another one I think it might end tomorrow. This second, there are only going to be 42 of them that are given away. There are, I think, 58 or 59 total because that's the team is getting one gateway key each. And in the Genesis season, it'll be the only way that you can spawn a dragon egg, right? So it's, it'll be worth trying to get. And this one's a little trivia question, so you have to look at the white paper and answer the question, and you have an entry. It's all fun. So that'll be going on for, weeks and weeks. And pretty soon we'll probably start accelerating how many we're giving away at a time. So get in there and do that. That's important. Make sure you follow Dracaria World and all of those things. And other than that, gosh, I guess follow me on X and on Den, and let me know if you have anything going on that you need anything from me. And that is it, I think. So I will play out something now. Let me think. I'll just play out the Den one. All right. Thanks a bunch, you guys. Have fun this week. Talk soon.
Because that goal will serve to organize and measure the best.
Adaptable, raw capital, label radical yet rational. A tactical approach is palpable if this animal is fallible, but that conclusion is laughable. So with for all detachable from the mandible, you see it now.